And welcome back. You are on centralcoastradio.com. Now, one of the big international film festivals that we have in Australia every year is the German Film Festival, and it is about to kick off right around Australia. It is beginning on the 2nd of May and running through to the 24th in Sydney, starting on the 3rd of May in Canberra, Brisbane, and Adelaide, and running through to the 24th, and opening in Melbourne, Perth, and Byron Bay on the 4th of May and running through to the 24th. Now, Lee and I decided that we're going to go and see a few of the films showing at this year's festival. So we thought what we would do today is just take a look at 3 of the films each that we want to go and see at the festival and say why we want to see it. So we'll start with you, Lee. What 3 films are you really looking forward to at this year's German Film Festival?
Well, I've read through the program of what's coming out, but I also got to see a trailer of this one. It's called The Fox, and it's based on a true story between a young soldier and a fox cub that become friends, basically, in the late 1930s. And obviously, it's a tale of war, and it looks like throughout the story, this soldier has to nurse back the cub to health, but also they go through a dangerous journey together, and it takes them to occupied France. So it just looks like a beautiful film of friendship, hardship, and also you don't know what's going to happen. I really hope the fox does not die because in a lot of movies where there's animals, it often happens, but I really hope that in this storyline that doesn't happen and it surprises us and that they continue on a friendship for many years. But happy to go and see it and see what happens because it looks intriguing and it looks heartwarming, even though it looks, there will be horrific stuff in there as well.
And what is your number 2 film that you really want to see at the German Film Festival?
I'm interested in one called Lost Transport. Now, this is also inspired by true events, and is another story about friendship, really, in the last days of World War II. And it's about a train of Jewish prisoners and concentration camps in a German village, and the German soldiers flee from advancing Russian troops, abandoning those on board. The village turns into a refugee camp, and there is forced quarantine and lots of chaos. So I'm really interested to see what comes out of here. I haven't actually seen a trailer for this, but just based on what's written in the little booklet that I've read, it looks really intriguing and something that I'd definitely be interested in.
And what is your number 3 film that you really want to see?
It was hard to pick a third one because there was a couple that I was interested in. But I'm going to pick one that I think you may not pick because there's one that I think or know that you will pick. It's a music one. So I'm going to pick something different to you because I'm sure I will get to see extra films from the festival. It's called In a Land That No Longer Exists. Just written here, it's an enchanting drama about beauty and freedom in the former GDR. Summer 1989, a few months before the fall of the Berlin Wall, an 18-year-old, Susie, is expelled from school and has to prove herself by working in a cable factory. It looks like there's underground fashion designs, cultures, it looks like this character decides what price she'll pay for the freedom she's always dreamed of.
Awesome. So I've got a few that I want to check out as well. I could have cheated and I could have mentioned the opening night film 1,000 Lines, which is a film that I've wanted to see ever since I heard that they were making it. But that's kind of cheating, I think, to talk about the opening night film because everybody always wants to see the opening night film. I narrowed it down to three with one kind of extra. I really want to see Love Thing, which is a comedy about set within the German cinematic world. So it's a comedy romance. But the three I really, really want to see is Someday We'll Tell Each Other Everything. The reason I want to see that is because I've actually read Daniela Crayen's novel that it's based on, and it's a beautiful story about a young girl who lives in a rural area, but she's more interested in books than she is in school. And then one day everything changes for her when she meets the farmer that's on the farm next door to her family's farm. And he's kind of a charismatic man, but the big problem is he's twice her age, which she knows that her family's not going to agree with. But I looked and saw that Emily Atef is directing it. I saw the cast, and I'm really, really want to go and see that as part of this year's festival. So that's called Someday We'll Tell Each Other Everything. One of the other films I really want to see is part of the retrospective that they've got as part of this year's German Film Festival. There's a whole lot of different kind of sections of the festival this year, and one of those sections is a retrospective section. Now, there's a film that came out in 1981, and it's called Christian F. It's based on a true story, and it's become a very, very famous cult film out of Germany that I've never actually been able to see, but I really want to see. It's about a 14-year-old girl who finds herself falling into the underground music and drug scene in West Berlin in the 1970s. Now, they had to shoot the film guerrilla style because of the story that they were telling and because of what Germany was like at that time. But it actually features David Bowie as himself in part of the film as well. I have been able to hunt down a copy of the soundtrack, and I've been listening to that pretty much ever since I was a teenager. And it's an absolutely amazing soundtrack. So, if you don't mind going and seeing a film that's a little bit older, Christian F is screening as part of the festival, and that's one that I'm really, really looking forward to. Now, I talked about the different sections of the festival. Another part of the festival is actually called Beyond Berlin, and that is actually featuring a few films that are actually Austrian films. One of those films is the one that Lee already mentioned, The Fox, and that is my number one film that I want to see at this year's festival. I went to a Palace Cinema recently to watch another film and saw the trailer for The Fox, and at that time it didn't say that it was showing at the German Film Festival, so I was watching this trailer and I was like, wow, this looks like something like that Paul Greengrass, the director, would do, or it looked like Atonement meets Dunkirk. Some amazing war sequences and this cute little fox that's all the way through the trailer. Then I found out it was from director Adrian Goenginger, and I thought, I really want to see that. Learnt that it was part of the German Film Festival, and that kind of cemented it for me. I love films set during war, and I love animal films. So I think this might be the perfect film for me to go and have a look at. But there are so many films showing at this year's German Film Festival. I think 5 of them were in competition at the Berlin Film Festival. None of the films, apart from the retrospective films, have had Australian premieres yet. So you're going to be going along and seeing films that at the festival that are out before they actually hit cinemas here in Australia. And so many, we're so lucky that we've got so many of these movies that did so well at the Berlin International Film Festival just a little while ago. So there's also a focus on female directors as part of the festival this year, and also a section called Kino for Kids, which is where they're going to be taking a look at German films that have come out over the last 12 months aimed for children and young adults. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. There's also another section as well where they're going to be looking at German music art on a screen as well. So if you love German music like me, I think you'll definitely be in for a little bit of a some pleasing films during that part as well. But look, as I said, the German Film Festival is kicking off all different days, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but it's kicking off in Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne, Perth, and Byron Bay at your local Palace Cinema. So definitely go and check out some of these movies that are on as part of the German Film Festival, and make sure you keep checking our website, subcultureentertainment.com, because as we watch some of the films at the festival, our reviews will be going up online. Now, I think there's only one way that we can go out of this, and that is we'll take a listen to a very, very famous German track now, and we'll be back very soon on centralcoastradio.com.